Okay, so for this lesson I want to talk about direction. When you're training for our June 2015 hike, it is important to put some mileage down. Just like being a good driver, you need some seat time. Well, enjoying a hike, especially if it's going to be a strenuous one, it's important to put some trail time in. Now, in Illinois, it's mostly flat, but there are some very nice forest preserves where your up and backs are about 1 to 2 miles, so they're pretty exciting. If you need more excitement or more variety, especially if it's usually just forest, you can go off trail. Some places will not allow you to do that because they don't want you to trample the rare underbrush. However, in the winter time and fall, it's kind of, you see that everything's dying and it's getting thinned out, so it is nice to go off trail. You can actually see and hear animals. You can get excited as far as varying your terrain. Having obstacles like this makes you pick up your feet and work on hip flexors in addition to carrying a pack if you want more of a challenge. More resistance if you don't have any obstructions or any terrain changes. More resistance would be in the weight that you carry. Your average pack will be about 20 to 30 pounds. If you want to challenge yourself, add more, usually in the form of water, up to 60 pounds, and that will be a good challenge for your knees and your quads. Obviously work up to that, and you'll be fine. The one challenge that nobody realizes is when you carry 1 to 2 liters of water, 3 liters is about a gallon. A gallon of water usually is about 10 pounds, 8 to 10 pounds. So if you carry 2 gallons, like I usually do with my hikes, that's about 20 pounds of extra weight. Then I share it with the other people that are going on the trail, but it also is a little more resistance for me during my training. So today's lesson will be on whether you get lost or not. Going off trail, you might lose your points of reference. Here, if you're unsure about where you've gone and you can't see the main trail, it can be confusing. I always have to research before I go in the anatomy or the geography of the place I'm going to, so I know what's north, I know where the body of water is, I know where our major roadway is, and I reference my direction that way. I can hear a roadway to my right, so I know that the forest and the main roadway will give me a direction of approximate north here. If I don't hear the roadway, or if it's evening time, or if I go into a deep wood area, and I can't see anything because of the cover, then the idea would be to take a compass. Your basic compass is really easy to use. You don't have to take a course, but if you hold the compass flat before you go into your trail, and you know your trail is pretty straight, or your forest area is pretty straight, you just have to have a direction of travel, which is the top end of your compass, and you have to have north. So you set your compass for where is north, that's true north. Sometimes there's true north and magnetic north. We don't have to talk about that right now. But if at least you know where north is, then you can see where your direction of travel is and you take a bearing. Since I started that way, I'm going down into the forest. My my bearing would be 180 degrees. So now that I know that, if I ever go off trail, get lost, I just have to head backwards. Backwards will take me in the general direction of where I came in or where the parking lot is. There's some fine-tuning after that, but at least I know the way back. If you have a guide, usually a guide will have some form of GPS. Whether it's a GPS communicator like this Rhino or a GPS watch, most of the high-end GPS units will have satellite capability even in deep valleys. Sometimes the GPS device only depends on if your phone will pick up the satellite, so that's a little iffy. And by the way, if you are taking a coordinate with a magnetic compass, try not to hold anything close by like a phone or a radio, because it changes the magnetics of the device will be affected by the GPS or the unit, the electronic unit that you're messing around with. I can also hear, I'm not sure if you can hear it, I can hear airplanes. the travel path of the airplanes are going this way, and I know O'Hare is to the northeast. So again, it's nice to know, using sound I can kind of figure out which direction is north. Using sight I can see that there's a body of water to my right and there's deeper forest to my left. So I can kind of figure out a couple things that way. So it's always nice to have a map if you can. If you don't have access to a map beforehand, and just because of the internet you should be able to get a map, or at least pictures from Google Image. Then you ask around your local hiking place like REI. If you don't even have that, then you really should buy a compass. The compasses that are based, this is a global compass, so I can use it south of the equator as well. But even if you buy a cheap compass that doesn't freeze up in harsh weather, that's probably good enough. Worst case scenario, if you can't find your way back, then hopefully you've made a phone call to somebody reporting, hey, I'm leaving for this forest preserve, I'm going to be in the parking lot, I should be back by 6 o'clock. If I don't get back, or if you don't hear from me, please call or search. And sometimes the easiest way to search is just for that person to call 911 if they don't hear from you. But it's always good to have that kind of backup. That way you make it enjoyable. Don't forget, if you're going, in addition to letting somebody know where you're going, you should have light, you should have water, just in case something happens. Dressing appropriately is important, otherwise if you get too cold, you're going to be briskly walking. If you briskly walk, you're going to trip over something and then you're going to get injured. So the idea of this is to find some new activity to get out and do that's sustainable. Again, if you exercise already, that's great. This is just going to be some variety that you throw in to make life a little exciting and also get back to nature. There's a lot of expensive places you go to exercise. This is free, and it's also not only is it exercise, it's also a way to calm the mind. So my usual anti-inflammatory lifestyle includes thinking, eating, and activity. The thinking and the activity part's taken care of. The eating part you'll probably take care of on your own, but it is kind of hard to hike when you're a little overweight, so just getting out will help you hopefully curb your appetite and be more attuned to what helps you as far as your nutrition and what harms you.